Lewis Hamilton just exposed Ferrari's hidden weapon, and it's already shaking the entire paddock. Because this car is supposed to be slower, down by nearly 30 horsepower, beaten on every straight since the season began. And yet, after one secret test in Monza, it started behaving like that weakness never existed. No new engine, no obvious upgrade, just a system so advanced, rival teams are already questioning how it's even possible. A rotating rear wing that transforms at full speed. A redesigned floor unlocking stability no one expected. And an energy gain so powerful, it could completely flip Ferrari's biggest weakness into an advantage. If this is real, Ferrari doesn't just catch up, they take over. And what Hamilton felt in those 200 kilometers might have already changed the entire season. Ferrari didn't suddenly become a threat overnight. That's what makes this so dangerous. They were already close. Close enough that the only thing holding them back was one specific weakness: power. From the very first race, it was obvious. Australia made it clear. Mercedes in control. Ferrari fighting, but always behind. More than 15 seconds over a full race distance, and every bit of that gap pointed to the same problem: the engine. Because while the SF26 was one of the strongest cars aerodynamically, the power unit simply wasn't there. Roughly 20 to 30 horsepower down. And in Formula One, that is not a small gap. That is the difference between attacking and defending, between leading and chasing. And Ferrari felt it everywhere. On every straight, on every lap, in every race. China looked like progress. Hamilton on the podium. A moment that suggested momentum was building. But underneath that result, nothing had really changed. They were still managing the deficit, still working around the problem instead of solving it. And then Japan happened. And Japan removed any illusion. Leclerc on the podium, Hamilton far behind. Same car, same conditions, but a gap of more than 10 seconds between teammates by the end. That's not strategy, that's limitation. And Hamilton said it without hesitation. Ferrari is not at the front. Right now, they are the third team. That statement changed everything, because it wasn't emotional, it was precise. A clear signal that something had to change immediately. And Ferrari didn't wait. They didn't slow down. They accelerated everything. An aggressive development plan. Multiple test sessions. Different circuits. Constant iteration. Fiorano. Mugello. And finally, Monza. But Monza is not just another step. This is the moment where everything is tested together. 200 kilometers. That's all they get. No full race simulation. No second chances. Just one controlled window to answer the only question that matters. Does the concept actually work? And this is where the story starts to shift. Because Ferrari didn't go after power directly. They went deeper. They started asking a different question. What if we don't need more horsepower? If we can use what we already have better? And that is where the hidden weapon begins to take shape. Not as a single upgrade, but as a system. A connected idea, where every part of the car contributes to the same goal. Recover more energy. Lose less speed. Create performance without increasing engine output. And that is exactly what Hamilton started to feel. Not just speed, but efficiency. The car behaving differently. Accelerating in a way that doesn't match the numbers. Holding speed where it shouldn't. And when that happens, drivers notice. Immediately. Because in Formula One, you don't need data to feel a breakthrough. You feel it in the balance. In the traction. In the way the car responds when you push it to the limit. And that is why Monza matters so much. Because this is the first time Ferrari runs the full concept together. Not in theory, not in simulation. In reality, at speed, with real feedback. And that feedback is already raising questions. Because what Hamilton felt doesn't align with what Ferrari should be capable of right now. And when something doesn't make sense in Formula One, that's when the entire paddock starts paying attention. Because it usually means one thing. Someone found something the others didn't. And if that is true, then what happened in Monza is only the beginning. And that something is not just one innovation, is the way everything connects. Because Ferrari didn't build a faster car, they built a smarter one. And the moment that system starts working together, the behavior of the car changes completely. This is where the foundation reveals itself. The floor, not visible, not dramatic, but absolutely critical. Because this new floor is doing more than adding downforce. It is stabilizing the entire platform, smoothing the airflow, reducing sensitivity to ride height, and most importantly, giving the drivers something they didn't fully have before: trust. Because earlier in the season, the Ferrari could be quick, but not predictable, not in high-speed corners, not in the moments where commitment makes the difference. And that hesitation costs lap time, every single lap. So Ferrari fixed that first. They created consistency, a car that behaves the same way corner after corner. And once that stability is there, everything else becomes possible. Because now you can push harder, brake later, carry more speed, and most importantly, you can build something more aggressive on top of it. And that is exactly what Ferrari did. They moved to the next layer. Efficiency, not more power. Better use of what they already have. And this is where Hamilton starts to feel something unusual. Because the car doesn't just feel faster. It feels smoother, cleaner, like it is losing less energy between corners. And that points to something deeper. Energy recovery. Because Ferrari is not just generating performance. They are recycling it, recovering more under braking, deploying it more effectively on exit, and combining that with reduced drag on the straights. Everything is connected. Everything feeds into the same objective. Close the gap without increasing engine power. And that is where this becomes dangerous. Because if you find performance in efficiency, you are no longer limited by the same constraints as everyone else. You are playing a different game. But here is the risk. Because this system only works if everything is perfectly synchronized. The floor, the airflow, the energy systems, every element must align. Every phase of a lap must connect. Because if one piece fails, the entire concept breaks. And that is exactly what Monza is testing. Not just speed, but reliability, consistency, control. Because one fast lap means nothing. What matters is repeatability. Lap after lap, corner after corner. And according to what is coming from that test, Ferrari is getting closer. Close enough to make this real. Close enough for Hamilton to feel it clearly. And that is where the pressure begins to build across the paddock. Because if this system works consistently, then Ferrari has not just improved, they have changed how performance is created. And when that happens, the next step becomes inevitable. Because once the foundation is stable and the efficiency is proven, there is nothing left holding back the most aggressive piece of the entire concept. The one element that could turn all of this into a true competitive weapon, and also into a problem no one else is ready to solve. And that final piece is where everything crosses the line from clever to terrifying. Because once Ferrari has stability, once the energy system is working, they unleash the one component that changes everything in a single straight. The rear wing. Macarena. This is not just an upgrade. This is the weapon. Because on the straights, the wing doesn't behave like anything else on the grid. It rotates, fully, transforming the car from a high downforce machine into something built for pure efficiency. Drag drops instantly. Speed rises. But the real gain is something you cannot see. Energy. Because with less resistance, the car flows through the air. And when that happens, the system recovers more energy than anyone else. More recovery means more deployment. More deployment means stronger acceleration. And suddenly, Ferrari is no longer compensating for a weakness. They are creating an advantage. And this is exactly what shocked the paddock. Because the numbers don't fully explain it, but the behavior does. The car keeps pulling. It doesn't fade at the end of the straight. It doesn't lose momentum the way it used to. It feels continuous, relentless. And that is what Hamilton exposed. Not just speed, but sustained performance. But here is where the tension reaches its peak. Because this system still lives on the edge. The wing must return to its original position before braking. Every time. Perfectly. Because if it doesn't, everything falls apart. Rear grip disappears. The balance shifts instantly. And the car becomes unpredictable. That already happened earlier this season. Moments where the synchronization failed. Moments where the car reacted violently under braking. So Ferrari is walking a very fine line between dominance and instability. And the difference between those two extremes is precision, timing, control. And according to everything coming out of Monza, they are closer than anyone expected. Close enough to make this system usable. Close enough to scare rival teams before they even see it in a race. Because teams don't wait for confirmation. They react to threat. And this feels like a threat. A real one. Because if Ferrari has solved the synchronization, if the wing behaves exactly as intended, then the advantage is not theoretical anymore. It is real. And once it becomes real, there's no stopping it, only reacting to it. But here is the part that makes this even more dangerous. Even if this system is not perfect yet, even if Ferrari needs one more race, one more test, they already have the next step prepared. ADUO, a regulatory opening that allows extra engine development. And Ferrari is inside that window. A deficit of around 4 to 6%, enough to qualify for additional upgrades, which means after Miami, more power arrives. Now think about that sequence. The floor stabilizes the car. The wing creates efficiency and energy gain. The system becomes reliable. Ferrari closes the gap, and then they gain engine performance on top of it. That is not a comeback. That is escalation. And this is why the reaction across the paddock is already happening. Because if Ferrari connects all of this, if Monza confirmed what Hamilton felt, then this is no longer about catching up. This is about taking control. And once a team reaches that point, the entire championship shifts. Not gradually, instantly, because everyone else is no longer chasing speed. They are chasing an idea, and ideas are always one step ahead.